So today we're going to put a control panel on the side of this oil tank. And the hard part about that is you have to run wires through it, which means holes, which means leaks. And just like anything else, we could run into a ton of problems.
I think I already screwed up.
It could go easily. It's so nice. Come along with us on this deep dive and see what kind of trouble I get into. So we came up with the idea of going through the oil tank with like a dash panel. We started off with a cat's eye Ford model. It just was a little too big. So we moved on to a square version and we liked it a little bit better and we ended up somewhere in between. The biggest problem in this situation is getting the hole on the front to align with the hole on the back and everything stays square. We kind of made a jig that slips right over, squares everything up, and in theory, everything will line up. I'm gonna mark small and kind of grind away later because it's easier to take away material than it is to add material. All that's left to do is start cutting and hope we planned everything out correctly. I sent the tubing size out to get cut with lasers and it'll be back here in a couple days, but I don't have it yet. So I have a mock-up and that'll go there. So this is kind of my dry fit mock-up and I'll be trying to slide this in and out a bunch of times to make sure everything fits. I'm not sure how well you can see because I can barely see what's going on here when I'm cutting. It's really tight in here and I'm gonna have to get creative to cut the horizontal lines. The vertical lines are fine, I have plenty of room. Horizontal lines are tight. First good sign is I can reach through and pull the other pieces out. They're very hot. So I cut the diagonals here to kind of get rid of some of the material so I have a little bit more room to work. As you can see, I'm gonna get close up to that. Now at least I have some gap to work with here. And if I can score that somehow, I can start folding it and just get it out of my way and work it away. Now it's just gonna be a lot of time and fitment, really. I'm using a file now to kind of, it's got a square edge file, but it'll allow me to get in between the corners to get a nice square edge, whereas this just rounds out corners. It's too much power, nice and refined. What we have left is I put the fake cover plate on, the plastic cover plate, and I kind of shaped the plastic to what the metal is gonna need to look like with the hole. I just basically saved myself a bunch of metal working time because I know the shape I want to get. So I can make this shape when the metal comes in instead of just doing a bunch of guessing and checking when I'm ready to weld. So now you take this piece and it fits really nicely into the hole. And then we have kind of a hint of what it's going to look like. On the inside, it'll be nice and flush as well, so all the wires will come up through here and I can do all battery work wiring inside of the oil bag and you won't see anything but the outside where there'll be a start button and a toggle switch. Good morning. It is a couple days later and the laser parts came in. No longer work with plastic now. So the first step is to take these and weld them together, get kind of a tube, and then I'll put that into the tank, mark out what needs to be cut off and weld it into the tank. Using mild steel for this because it is gonna be painted, it's gonna be inside the tank, oil coated. So the good part about that is I can use a magnet to hold everything while I tack it up. You can't do that with stainless because stainless is non-magnetic. Now I'm not using any filler rod here for the tack, just because it's really thin wall. I'm at low temp. I just want to get it all in place and make sure everything fits the way I want it to fit. I got a couple tacks to hold it in place, get an idea of what it's going to look like. And now I have this really skinny piece. All it is basically a I'm gonna tap these holes and it's gonna be a big nut to hold the faceplate when it's done. A little tight. Tight might be good though. I'm gonna roll with it. See what happens. See, the cool part about tacking with no filler is I can kind of bend the tack to get things to where I want it to be. Can't do it too much, but you can kind of just massage it in place. So if you can see down here, there's a little bit more of a gap just because this break wasn't perfect, the break in the steel. There's a little more of a gap right here than there was on this side. So I'm probably gonna use a little bit of filler rod there. But otherwise, I think I'm just gonna go around the whole thing, just fuse weld it. Because there's not really, this isn't really structural. It's more just to stop leaks. Now, after the box is all tacked, I like to start in the vertexes of the corners because that's usually the first part to blow out. So if I put a little bit there, when I walk to it, it's not gonna blow out. Now it's cooled off to the touch and it slides through. Nice. That's kind of what it's gonna look like. And now I need to cut it so it fits the inside of the tunnel. I will show you. So I need to cut all this stuff out. So what I'm gonna do real quick is kind of roughly mark how far I need to go. I'm painting around this with marking fluid so I can run a scribe and a much more precise line than a Sharpie, because you gotta think a Sharpie's edge is 1/8 of an inch thick, right? So you can be plus or minus that on a Sharpie line. But with this marking fluid, I can run a really sharp, basically needle across it, and it'll be exactly where I want it to be. Let it dry out, make sure that I'm in the right spot. What happens is you can't weld with this marking fluid either. So you gotta come back with acetone after you cut it and get all the marking fluid off, but it comes off very nicely, and that's kind of the beauty of it doesn't rub off when it's dry, but it comes off with acetone or any other solvent pretty easily. This is a hermaphrodite compass. What it does, it's a scribe tool, it's a layout tool, and it draws a parallel line with whatever reference edge you want. And they call it a hermaphrodite because it goes both ways. Ha ha ha. And you can do inside lines as well and scribe inside edges. We have our line, and there you go. You can see I have my line on the side and the top and the bottom. And now I'll show you how this works is you kind of just set it to where you want it, right here. I'll just drag it across, and then it creates a nice straight line parallel to whatever face you're dragging it. I wasn't paying attention, and I should have cut here, but I cut here. I made a little mistake. Luckily it's metal, so I'm just gonna clean up my area from the marking fluid, re-weld it, grind it flat, and act like it didn't happen. And there we have it, like it never happened. Just gotta go back and remark my line, and then we'll start cutting again. Okay, rough shape is kinda in there. I'm gonna go through with the die grinder and just refine some of it. So now we're at this point where I got a really good rough shape in. Now I'm going to remove all this marking fluid so I have a fresh start, and I can make new marks where I need to grind, cut, and fit over and over again to get it right where I want it. It's fitting really nice right now, so I'm gonna go get the welder set up, and tack it in to see where we're at. Well, we're all welded, outside, inside. I'm gonna come through and knock the welds off, make it look all finished, and make sure there's no like pinholes I can see. And eventually it'll be pressure tested to make sure it's not leaking. After I grind all that stuff down, I'll put the cover plate on and we'll kind of see what it looks like. The really cool part about having the CNC down here is that we know what tooling we have. And knowing that, we know what our limitations are. So when we're designing the part, we can design within our limitations and get everything done quicker because we're not struggling with finding tooling. And that's really great because you could apply that by designing within your limitations. You might not have all these tools, but you could have 5 of them. And if you design within those limitations, you can get something really cool made. So what this is a little deburr tool, like a counter rotating one. Instead of a drill, you just do it by hand really quick. So it looks weird like this, but when you put it in a hole and spin like that, it almost acts like a little hand drill. And it deburrs for you. Just gives you a nice little finish. And it also has in the back side of it, like an actual deburr tool, so you can deburr an edge, and they're pretty interchangeable. Like that. And then you just come by and deburr an edge. I left these little tabs in when we were machining it so that it didn't like fall through and get all tore up after the hour-ish machine time this was. So I gotta come back and cut all these tabs off and just finish them. So I cut them on the bandsaw and just tap it basically on the sander. And we'll go and fit it up on the tank. Can I make the turn? Oh, I can. Now I'm gonna go over to the belt sander and just kind of bring down the rough edges. Finish it by hand. I'm using 220 right here, and I'll hit it with the sander after. Right now, just trying to get it to a good place. Because there will be a seen edge on the bike. We're still not sure if we're gonna be tumbling it, polishing it, painting it. Not sure the finish yet. We'll see what it goes with the paint, but it will be a seen edge regardless. The whole reason we came up with this idea is because we have discovered airplane electronics like switches and buttons. And we have loved it ever since we found it. These are the ones we found and decided for that. So we made that switch panel around these buttons and switches. What's cool about these is they're metal. They're rated for way more amperage you're gonna throw at them. The ones you get from like AutoZone or Amazon, they're all plastic housing. They're like to turn your computer on. They're more expensive, but in our opinion, worth every penny. And that's why we did it. And that's why I made this cover, and that's where it all came from. It's so nice. Like you're really gonna know my bike is on. It's off. So there you have it. There's our deep dive into putting a hole in an oil tank for electronics. Honestly, you don't have to be as intricate. You don't need a CNC. You can probably just get this laser cut or cut a panel out yourself. Go to like Send Cut Send, get some laser cut stuff done. Do it with an exhaust pipe. Just takes a little bit of time and some skill that you can learn from us in deep dives. Thanks.